When most people think of the United States, they probably think of the main 48 US states in North America, isolated Alaska, its upper third cut by the Arctic Circle, and remote Hawaii, a tropical paradise. But the United States is more than that. One such case lies thousands of miles away from Hawaii, a tiny speck in the vast Pacific Ocean. Yet a unique culture thrives there, and a diverse national park lies within the confines of the islands known as American Samoa. This is nature on the fringes of civilization. This is the National Park of American Samoa. Out of the many cultures that make up Polynesia, the region of the South Pacific Ocean that includes the national park, the Samoan culture is believed to be the oldest. Arriving from Southwest Asia on the islands around 3,000 years ago, they stepped onto volcanic islands that had been there for about 7 million years prior, ringed by coral reefs and shallow lagoons. Over the many years that the Samoans inhabited the islands, they developed a distinct set of traditions known today as Va'a Samoa. Some of these traditions, still practiced today by the descendants of the Samoans and asked to be observed by any visitors to the park, include asking villagers for permission to use certain areas of the islands, not being loud or interrupting the evening prayer known as Sa'a, and to not eat or drink while walking through a village. One way to get acquainted with the Samoan people during your visit is through the homestay program, where visitors can temporarily live with the Samoan family and participate in their daily activities in between visits to the national park. Though Samoan history takes up most human interaction on the islands, Europeans first came upon the Samoan Islands in the 18th century, with the eastern half of the islands being turned over to the United States in 1900 and the western half becoming an independent country currently known as Samoa. After a brief military stint during the World Wars era, a proposition was made in the 1980s to create a national park in American Samoa. On October 31st, 1988, the National Park of American Samoa was established, the first and only national park south of the equator. One interesting thing of note with the creation of the national park is that Samoan cultures did not support the buying and selling of land, leaving the National Park of American Samoa in the interesting position of not technically being owned by the National Park Service, with the land being shared with the NPS by its owners through a 50-year lease starting in September 1993. There are many activities that you can do if you decide to take a visit to this unique national park, including snorkeling on coral reefs off the islands of American Samoa, where visitors can view over 950 different species of fish and 250 different species of coral. While you're expected to bring most of your gear, the reward is one of the best underwater experiences in any national park. Hiking is also a popular activity in the area, with short trails like the Pola Island Trail and the Blunts and Breakers Trail offering looks into the wildlife and history of the island, and longer trails like the Mount Oliva Trail and the Tumu Mountain Trail giving more experienced hikers a chance to head deep within the wilderness of the national park, summiting the ancient volcanic peaks covered in lush undergrowth. The animals at the National Park of American Samoa are an interesting group of species, a group that includes the flying fox, a type of megabat that was part of the reason why the area became a national park, to protect the bat's habitat. Not many other mammals inhabit the island itself, but offshore several species of whales and dolphins swim through the tropical waters. Small geckos and skinks scurry under the rocks and leaves in the lush forests, and finally, birds such as boobies and herons nest along the shorelines of the national park, completing an ecosystem different from all the other NPS units. The National Park of American Samoa represents time-honored traditions, as well as some of the best things the South Pacific has to offer in terms of wildlife and the land itself. Besides serving as a habitat for flying foxes and so many other animals, it shows the story of a people who celebrate culture, located on the edge of civilization, but thriving just like the rest of humanity. We hope you enjoyed learning about this special national park, and we'll catch you next time.